Welcome, Kathryn. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you for coming down to the beach here and having a bit of a chat about Totes Fun. Super excited to have this conversation. Can you tell us a little bit about what was going on when you started Ecom Capital, the journey of building your e-commerce brand?
Thanks for having me. Excited to have this conversation. Life was actually pretty busy when I started my journey with Ecom Capital. I'm a mum, I've got 3 kids, one's a teenager, one has some additional needs. Life's pretty busy, and I also had a coaching business that I was going before I started my journey with Ecom Capital.
Why did you want to build like an e-commerce brand? What was some of like the motives behind like actually wanting to do that to begin with?
I actually had zero motivation to build an e-commerce business, and I'd never actually thought about it before. And it was when I went to the event called Dreamfest, and I actually saw you up on stage speak. And the funny story is you kind of came out on stage and you did this yes set, so asking the audience lots of yes questions. And from a sales perspective, I was like, I know what's going to happen here. And I kind of sat back in my chair going, I'm going to watch all the people walk up to the back of the room at the end of this. And you talked about e-commerce and you talked about AI, which I was into at the time, and you talked about the opportunity. And I just found myself by the end of your talk on stage, I was leaning more and more and more in. So while I had no intention to build an e-commerce business, what I did have was a passion to help young girls with mental health issues. So I had my own mental health challenges as a teenager, and I heard a stat about 2 years ago which scared me, which was 1 in 2 girls will experience a mental health challenge, and I've got 3 girls. So that day in that event, I actually jumped on to working with Ecom Capital with a passion to help girls through their mental health journey. And I can share in a moment how I ended up with the beach bag business, because that's also a great story.
I didn't know that was the passion behind it. That's very interesting. Thanks for sharing that. How did you find kind of like going through the learning experience, number one, like the product development experience, like you hadn't like built any product-based businesses before. So talk to me a little bit about that in terms of like what the experience was like. I guess like felt for you to experience and go through that if you can.
At first, when I jumped into it, I put a lot of pressure on myself. So I put a lot of pressure on myself to get through it, to get through the modules. And because I was doing it between looking after the kids and the coaching business, we were talking night times, weekends. At first, I applied a lot of pressure. And then, my husband kind of had a good chat to him, and he's like, does it really need to be this pressure? Is there really a time pressure? So then I kind of slowed down and took a bit more of a, just as I could get the time approach. But what I did was consistency. So I consistently took action and continued to show up. And going through the process, it was all laid out. The videos were there, the learnings were there. You could watch the videos and then go away and take the action. And what I really loved was that it was step by step. It was here, go and do this, here, go and look for this. I do have quite an analytical mind and a futuristic looking into the future. So I really enjoyed the whole process, and enjoying the process helped me to keep going.
How were the team and the people that were supporting you? Because like obviously the structure and the process, the step-by-step kind of like frameworks and stuff, that's very important. But like for me personally, like I'll jump into different programs and stuff and I'm like, oh great, like another video program, you know what I mean? So like there's a lot of different people that we have in the team and in the company that help with certain things. So how has that experience been for you in terms of like working with some of the team to actually achieve some of those key milestones?
The experience with the team has been phenomenal. The whole step of the way, and everyone is so responsive. So even from jumping on the coaching calls, there was a genuine interest in what I was doing, whether it was yourself or some of the other coaches on the calls. Like I would come with a question and it was always like detailed. It wasn't rushed, or it wasn't, okay, go away, do this, figure it out. And there was a real sense of expertise. So the coaches had been through an experience, they'd been through Ecom. And then when I went to build my store, like the dev team were just amazing. Like I'd send through and I'd ask a question and they'd be like, yep, no worries, we'll get back to you. Like always so lovely. Like even now that I've implemented my store, I can still go back and ask a question, and it's that same level of exceptional service. And then the support team around it, like I worked with April a lot during my process, and she, again, just knowledgeable. Actions got done, like just can speak so highly of the whole team at Ecom Capital.
Depending on who you work with and how that process goes, it can have different impacts. So for you, like going through that and experiencing like the good structure as far as like the program goes and the people to support you, like, and then learning a new skill and being in an environment where you're like, so many different things are overwhelming. How did that kind of like feel for you to navigate through that like unknown process? Just from like a, what kind of feedbacks you experienced this, I felt like this, or I felt like that. What kind of things did you have come up during that process?
I think personally, as I went through it, as I said, I started with Ecom Capital to build a brand that helped girls with mental health issues or supporting with them that. And look, as I went through the process, the products that I was looking at weren't quite as viable.
Right.
And I kind of was like going, okay, well, what do I do now? How do I pivot? And I actually just went back to the beginning of the process and I started again and I went, let's look at my niche, 5 things that I like. Okay, what are 5 problems with that? And that's how I actually came up with, I needed to replace my beach bag. And the company that I bought my last one from, which I wanted because it was really big, no longer existed.
Right.
And so I followed the whole ecom process. And so like there was definitely points through that process where I'm like, what have I done?
Yeah.
Like, what have I done? Why am I doing this? I thought I was going to do this product. It's not viable. But I just kept going.
Yeah.
Just kept going. And then just really found the community really supportive.
Yeah.
So you could go in there and you could see that someone else has had a similar challenge or someone else's where they're up to. And, you know, seeing other people who'd launched their stores, it's like, okay, you can do this. This is possible. Just keep going. So it is really about just riding those highs and those lows, but knowing there's a community around you to support you to get through that.
In terms of like where we are right here and now, maybe if you can unpack that a little bit in terms of like day to day, some of the things that are happening. You've obviously got a few products here. Maybe we can have a look at those. What's happening with the business at the moment? What are the key? Obviously, we're in the middle of winter here, so probably challenging time to be selling beach bags, but hey, we'll push through. But talk a little bit about that in terms of like what some of the things are that we're going through right now, and then also what you're excited about for the future, and then how that kind of experience has also changed for you on a personal level.
So I launched at the end of January, and I actually thought my stock would be coming towards the middle of January. So definitely when I launched, I felt like I'd kind of missed a bit of summer, and I went through a real process in the beginning. It was a real test and learn, doing my ads, running them. I found in the beginning I was probably discounting, trying to make sales.
Right.
But as I went on and I continued and tested with more ads, I started to get more confident with what I was doing. I've had some support from amazing coach Hammond. He's been helping me with my media buying, and just working directly with him one-on-one, I'm getting so much more confidence. So now it's about looking at my ads, it's doing the creatives, it's about testing them, seeing how the results are going. And like I'm selling at least 1 bag a day in the middle of winter. And I think, come on, if you can sell a beach bag a day in the middle of winter.
When no one's going to the beach.
When no one's going to the beach, like it's only up from there. So I'm super pumped. Like it's a glorious day here on the Gold Coast, still really cold mornings. But once we get into those warmer months, I'm pumped to just see Totes Fun go up and up. Yeah.
Nice. And how does it feel to have something that you initially just like created as an idea? Obviously it was like, is this going to work? I'm not too sure about it. And you know, you want to kind of help young girls. It's like there's so many meaningful things that you've built into these products. So how does it feel to, number one, like see something come to life? Like number two, have other people like, you know, buy from you that you don't even know all over the, you know, country. It's like, wow. And then also looking forward to the future in terms of what the potential is for that. Like how's that whole process feel?
It actually feels a little bit surreal. So like sometimes I look at it and go, I created a business. And then sometimes it's just like, oh yeah, that's just there. But I think one of the biggest things for us is the name Totes Fun was created around our dinner table as a family. So we got together, we had post-it notes, we were looking at different names.
Wow, I didn't know this.
We were going through the whole ecom process. Okay, here's a name. Okay, let's go search it on all. Okay, no, that's taken. We can't use that. And as a family, we came up with it. So for us, it holds a lot more meaning because it was created in that way. There's definitely a sense of pride, like a sense of pride that I didn't have anything and now I do. And in terms of my original intention to be helping girls with mental health issues, that's still the longer term goal. And what I love is that even going through the process with Totes Fun is I now have the foundations. I now know what to do. When I'm ready to go and take that bit up more seriously, I've got everything I need. And I'm going to be able to replicate the skills that I've learned and use the tools that I've learned through going through working with Ecom Capital in my coaching business as well. So I'm about to start running breathworks really soon here in Burleigh. And I'll be able to use everything I've learned with the ads to do that in my business. So it's been phenomenal.
Thank you so much. Maybe let's hold up some of these bags and show people a little bit about this product that you created. What's this one called?
That is the Jane Street and Me. So this is a great solo beach bag, solo mum bag or couples beach bag.
And what's this one here?
This is the little mini me, which I brought for the kids because it's a perfect kid-sized bag. But actually, hot tip, ladies, it is an amazing grab-and-go handbag. So I have got my glasses, my keys and my phone in there and my lippy, grab and go for the day.
Love it. And let's get the big one out. What's this one?
The hero product. which is named after
where we are right now.
Yeah, the Big Burley. So it's a family-sized beach bag. It's waterproof, so no more stinky, wet, mildew material. Once you've been out in the sand, I've actually rubbed this guy up against one of the burnt logs.
Car tire or something.
The burnt log over there.
All right.
I'll be able to take that home and wash that straight off because
amazing.
the bags are washable, and great little inner liner that you can
Love
just put your stuff that you don't want to get wet.
We're doing an infomercial right now. And quickly, Kathryn, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to talk to you. It's always great to see you, and super excited for the future of Totes Fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.